Meet Stephanie Robinson, whose story of recovery and advocacy is amazing. As a child, she remembers seeing her grandfather leave to stay at a hospital for a while, but no one in her family would discuss it. Stephanie and her grandfather became very close, and he later told her that he had bipolar disorder. As a young adult, Stephanie began to experience some of her own mental health challenges.
I became more public about it and trying to figure out what this was, and I, at that point, had 5 family members that had died by suicide. So I really knew that this was a genetic thing. It was a real thing. And it was also something that was very taboo. And me being kind of the black sheep of the family thought, I'm going to try and break some barriers here and get to the bottom of this instead of just medication and shock therapy. And I want to know the whys.
Stephanie's mental illnesses became progressively worse and began affecting everyday life. She eventually discovered she suffered from agoraphobia, the fear of open spaces. She spent 14 years of her young life homebound.
I started developing what I know now was panic attacks. I would take my daughter to school and I would start getting really anxious. And so then I started avoiding like the school line. And then I would go to Walmart and it would happen and I started avoiding Walmart. And all of these things were happening and I got to the point where my whole world shrunk, and so I was just staying indoors. We would do things as a family, but we would do them different. So my husband at the time would hang a sheet out there and play movies for the kids, and I could sit at the window and watch. And it was just a lot of things that we did as a family, but we did it differently. Of course, I missed out on my kids' graduation. I couldn't go to doctor's appointments. I couldn't go to the grocery store, just the little things that people take for granted.
When Stephanie's grandfather died, she felt like her one and only support person was gone, and a deep depression set in. She even attempted to end her life. Luckily, she survived, which changed everything. She began trying exposure therapy and eventually started some medication.
It wasn't just like, okay, I'm going to get out. It was hours of preparation. It was a brown paper sack. That was my safety thing in case I hyperventilated. It was making sure I had that. I would get in the car, we'd back out of the driveway, we'd have to pull back in. It was a lot of trial and error. I mean, in my mind, I knew how ridiculous it was. But it was just like a wall I couldn't get over. And finally, it was just a leap of faith. It was like, I'm either going to die trying or I'm going to die from this. And I think it was reframing that.
Finally, for the first time, she felt like she found her purpose. Stephanie began volunteering at NAMI Southwest in Springfield and discovered a lot of commonalities with many of the unhoused individuals she met and helped.
Stephanie's efforts when she helps people with mental illness is natural. She's very calming, she's genuine, loving and compassionate, and so she makes them feel very important.
Well, like me, I was living on the street, didn't trust anybody, and she actually showed me how to get resources that I didn't know existed. And for that, I love her for it.
With her advocacy for mental health, she's able to really educate others that aren't aware and kind of release that stigma of what people, mental illness is all about. A lot of people want to treat the diagnosis, but they really need to treat the person, find out who they are, and that's what she's all about.
Today, Stephanie is the NAMI Southwest Missouri Executive Director, and it is her personal experience that drives her commitment to advocating for others facing similar challenges.
But what I want people to know is it is so worth it on the other side. It is so worth it. And if you hang on, I really feel like this disease, this illness is really preparing you for your purpose, and you would not believe the things you could accomplish when you make it out on the other side. It makes you stronger. It makes you smarter. It makes you more empathetic, more loving. So many more great qualities that I had before this illness. I could sit and say all of the bad, horrible things it took from me. But for every bad thing it took from me, it gave me something better.
I would say probably 80% of our residents, their disability is mental illness. And so when we have a crisis, we call Stephanie, and she comes immediately. And she diffuses the crisis because that's what she does.
She don't take no for an answer. That's the only way I can put it. I mean, you tell her she can't do something, she'll prove you wrong.
It's not just being a champion. I think it's being acknowledged for living and surviving and making it through what I did. And somebody out there is grateful that I did. So that made a big impact for me.
You keep being you keep being Stephanie, and you just keep on providing the love, supports for everybody that has come into your life and that will come into your life in the future. Never change who you are, and I love you.
Stephanie, in my opinion, she goes above and beyond. And we've seen it time and time again, not only with the people she serves, not only with our Eden Village people, but in everyday life, everyday walk.
And that is what makes Stephanie Robinson a mental health champion.